Okay. So I have a lot I want to talk about with you today. So we're 10 games in. The record's 7-2-1. 7 out of a possible 8 points in Alberta. 15 points total. Top of the division. And yet, I still feel the main consensus around the team from all the sports radio we listen to and all the shows we watch of people who cover it is that they haven't been that good. And I've got a really kind of like layered opinion on that take. Like I don't disagree with it. Like I do think that there is especially offensively, I do think there is another level that this team can get to. I do. Like I think overall it's like they are like Matthews said it himself the other day. I've got the quote right here. He said, I quote, "I don't think we've scratched the surface of the best hockey we can play as a team." I agree with that from an offensive standpoint. So, I don't know. Just give me your overall thoughts and we'll dive into it, and I'll give you the second part of my take.
I just want to know what's good enough. What is good enough for this fan base? They're 7-2-1. I want these guys who report on the Leafs and write about the games to watch another good NHL team. Watch the Capitals, and I want to see their report on it because I think every team in this league has deficiencies. It's just we're so focused on the Leafs, and they're 7-2-1. And for me, and you can dissect the analytics, you can dissect the amount of penalties they've taken or their 5-on-5 play, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting points in this league. And they're 7-2-1. They're the tops in the division. They have a bunch of guys who are in the top in the league in points, and their power play is the second best power play in the league right now. And yeah, they've been a little lucky. There's been points in the season where they've been stuck in their own end. They've taken way too many penalties. Sheldon Keefe pointed that out. I totally agree. They have taken too many penalties. But if you're winning games because your power play is too good, I don't get it.
So,
I don't get why that's such a negative.
So that brings me to the second part of my take, which is like, yes, do I think they can be better offensively? I do. However, I think they've been pretty good defensively. And I think
massive improvement.
Yeah, and I think
they've had a big improvement defensively.
Yes.
I think you've seen Jake Muzzin take a step forward this year, even though McDavid I feel bad for him trying to cover McDavid for 2 games. That's a tough task. Justin Holt turned into a guy who was scratched 71 times to a guy who's now a top 4 defenseman. Is actually playing pretty damn good.
Yep.
And then they got a little bit of depth at the bottom. You can Dermott, Lettinen are kind of just those bottom guys. You can switch in and out. And I just think overall defensively as a defensive core, they've gotten a lot better. And that was the main thing going into this season we wanted to see improve. We knew they had the firepower. We knew their power play could be something. But can this defensive core play good enough for this team to advance in the playoffs?
And I think that defensive core is the main, that and the power play are the main reason why they have 15 points in the bank right now.
Yeah, and it's the classic Brian Burke quote: build from the net out. Freddie Anderson's been pretty decent.
Yes.
He started off a little shaky like he always does, and that's fine. But he's gotten better. I just mentioned a couple guys on defense. TJ Brody's been pretty good. He's been an upgrade from Cody Ceci.
Yes.
Like think about Tyson Barrie, Cody Ceci. Think about that last year. 2 absolute jamokes.
Yeah.
2 awful defensive hockey players. And then, like, they've massively improved. If your biggest problem is the forward group, well, what do we talk about 24/7? How this forward group is one of the best in the NHL, and they needed to improve other parts of their team. To me, they have done that. If your biggest problem is their 5-on-5 offensive play, then I think that's a pretty good place to start when you're 7-2-1.
And here's my thing, okay? Like I said, I'm really happy with the way they've played defensively. I think they've been really good defensively. Do they still give up some quality chances? Yes. But I think overall their defensive structure, and especially the way they break the puck out of their zone, is the best it's been in years. And we've seen what happens. We've seen what happens when this team tries to go out and win 6-4. We've seen that movie. We've seen how that ends. You know how that ends? That ends with a first-round exit. Yeah. That's how that ends.
And a lot of criticism.
Yeah, it does. So, like, this is where it's kind of like, what is gonna make you people happy?
Yeah, it pisses us. It's literally pissing me off
Yeah.
at this point. It's just there's nothing ever good enough, and we're guilty of that sometimes as well. Because when you're covering one team, you're watching the same team over and over and over again.
I like your point. If I can cut you off, I like your point about like watch other teams around the league. Like
Yeah.
you're what I just said. Like you're seeing that with the Oilers right now. Like look at the Oilers, just in a shootout last night against the Senators.
Yeah, they have the.
Is that sustainable? Is anyone picking the Edmonton Oilers to challenge for a Stanley Cup this year? No.
No,
And that's
absolutely
the
not.
exact team the Leafs have been these last few years. So it's like now they're playing a more structured defensive game and they're giving up less scoring chances. Do they have quality scoring chances in the offensive zone? No. Would we all like them to have more? Yes. But I'm willing. I went into this season and I thought I wasn't alone. I went into this season with the understanding that we were going to sacrifice some of like the high-powered offensive onslaught for a better blue line and a more
Better breakouts.
structure in
Yeah.
our defensive zone. And that's what I've seen. And now I'm hearing, well, I don't think they're that good. They're quality scoring. They don't get that many quality. It's like they're winning games.
I
They're
think
7-2-1. What do you want?